Right now at noon, a man rushed to the hospital after a Portland driver accidentally runs him over. What we know about his condition. Plus, a Longview superintendent accused of obstructing a sexual assault investigation involving students, expected in court today. And
they're extremely long. I wish they were shorter, but I understand this is a holiday weekend.
All smooth at PDX, but it is different across the country. We speak to travelers ahead of a record-breaking travel weekend. And we have multiple breaking stories this noon that we're keeping track of right now. First responders are asking people to avoid the area as they respond to a house fire in West Lynn. According to Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, it's burning near Weather Hill and Salmon Road. You see the map there. Not much else is known at this hour, but firefighters say additional resources are being called in, so that makes it sound like they've really got something working there. We do have a crew on the way, and we'll bring you more details as they become available. Meanwhile, we're taking a live look at the White House with more breaking news. We're now learning Tulsi Gabbard is resigning as Director of National Intelligence. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Tim Gordon. According to NBC News, Gabbard told President Trump she needed to step away as her husband battles cancer. She's now the fourth cabinet official to depart during Trump's second term. NBC News says there were also rumblings that Gabbard would split with Trump after the president's decision to strike Iran. Gabbard says she'll leave the position at the end of June. Well, right now, a man is in the hospital after a Portland driver unknowingly ran him over this morning. Police say it happened in southeast Portland near Yamhill and Cesar Chavez Boulevard. Portland police say the driver got into his car and drove forward without realizing a person was lying in front of the vehicle. Officers tell us the man's injuries were believed to be serious and he was rushed to the hospital. But thankfully, once he got there, the injuries actually appeared to be fairly minor. Police say the driver stayed at the scene and that no arrests have been made. Well, a Beaverton City Council candidate accused of showing his handgun near the Beaverton Library made his first appearance in court today. Antonio Pirogue, you see him there, a candidate for City Council position 5, pleaded not guilty this morning. Pirogue is charged with menacing and unlawful use of a weapon. Police say on Monday, Pirogue allegedly showed he was armed with a handgun near the Beaverton City Library, causing someone to call 911. He's expected to be back in court next month. Well, happening this afternoon, the Longview superintendent, arrested in connection with a sexual assault investigation involving students, is expected to make her first court appearance. Karen Cloninger is charged with obstructing police, failing to report as a mandatory reporter, and tampering with a witness, which is a felony. The executive director of student services for Longview is also facing charges. In February, authorities arrested and charged 2 high school basketball players at Mark Morris High School for allegedly sexually assaulting their younger teammates. Police say the school and district knew about it but didn't take action. Parents are asking the board to fire any staff member that failed to report what they knew to authorities.
So the fact that they were unwilling to pull anybody while this was being investigated to make sure that we feel comfortable with our kids being in the schools, they just allow these people to continue working. It's really upsetting.
In a statement, Interim Superintendent Patty Bowen said, quote, "Our district remains committed to understanding the facts surrounding the alleged student and staff misconduct, cooperating with the ongoing investigation, following the law, and ultimately taking appropriate accountability action," end quote. Cloninger is expected to appear before a judge at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Also new at noon, the body of a man who went missing in November has been found in the Willamette River near Harrisburg. Investigators say they found the remains of 62-year-old Wade Felton Lloyd of Junction City. Deputies say a kayaker discovered the body Tuesday morning. The sheriff's office says his death remains under investigation this afternoon. And taking a look at the flights for PDX right now, about 7 flights are delayed and just 1 is canceled. And millions of people are expected to travel this Memorial Day weekend. AAA says it could be one of the busiest we've seen in years. That includes those flying through the airport. Corey Johnson has more on what you can expect.
AAA expects more than 620,000 Oregonians to travel this Memorial Day weekend, and most of them will be hitting the roadways. Now, AAA also says a record 39.1 million Americans are expected to drive this holiday weekend, including about 505,000 people here in Oregon. And if you're leaving the Portland area, you'll want to plan ahead. The agency says the heaviest traffic is expected this afternoon into the evening, with some drive times potentially taking twice as long as normal. And AAA also says Bend, the Oregon coast, Seattle, and Boise are among the most popular regional destinations this year. The agency says today is expected to be one of the busiest travel days of the weekend, so whether you're driving or flying, they recommend leaving early and building in extra time. But it's not just roadways that are expected to be packed. The agency also says more than 3.6 million people are expected to fly this Memorial Day weekend, including more than 68,000 Oregonians. They say domestic flights are about 6% cheaper than last year, but airports are still expected to be very busy, so travelers should arrive early, check flight status updates, and expect long security lines. We actually spoke to a retired Alaska Airlines pilot this morning at PDX who says he's not too worried going into the holiday weekend.
The outside was a lot busier than I was expecting, and there's going to be quite a few people traveling, even with high prices in airline fares. A lot of people have the TSA pre-check, which really speeds things up quite a bit.
The drivers are also expected to pay more at the gas pump, with Oregon gas prices sitting at about $5.32 a gallon. AAA also says global oil concerns are the reason, or part of the reason, about what's keeping those prices so high. Back to you.
And our thanks to Corey Johnson. And you heard in her voice, we hope she's feeling better soon. And taking a live look from our Wells Fargo camera this afternoon, where it's a perfect day to get out there and hit the road. Meteorologist Chris McGinnis with a preview of our Memorial Day weekend.
Sun will lift your spirits and hopefully your health as well,
yeah,
right?
Sure.
We've got a sunny shot up at the Cascades as well. This is the shot from Timberline Lodge, pointed south towards Mount Jefferson. Our freezing level today up at 11,000 feet. Not quite as high as yesterday, but still pretty good. Obviously, it's clear in the Cascades. It's clear in the gorge. Different perspective here from the Oregon's Veterans Home in the Dalles. Tippy top of Mount Hood there off in the distance. Currently 75 degrees with a light breeze in the Dalles today. We still do have some fog and low cloudiness at the coast. This camera here, sponsored by Seaside, not as socked in as it was yesterday, but still in pockets along the Oregon coast. We have low cloudiness and fog. You see that there. You see Cascade Head off in the distance here from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City as well, where it's currently 64 degrees. A lot of beach areas are seeing sun, some folks seeing some clouds. 69 last check at the airport, so within a degree or two of where we were yesterday at lunchtime. We're already 74 in Forest Grove, Troutdale at 71, and Salem and Eugene both sitting at 72 degrees. We are well on our way to another 80-degree afternoon. I've got Portland topping out at about 81, maybe 82 today, and full sunshine in the forecast all the way up through sunset, which is still getting later at 8:43. We still have a pretty decent looking weekend forecast, Tim, and we still have rain in the forecast for Memorial Day. Now that our high-res short-term models are getting a better handle on the arrival of that rain, I'll show you that with Futurecast in terms of the timing coming up in just a few minutes.
And we'll look forward to it. Thanks, Chris. Here's a look at some national headlines this afternoon. Nearly 150 people have now died from the Ebola outbreak in Central Africa. In response, the U.S. is implementing new travel restrictions to keep the virus from spreading here. All airline passengers coming into the U.S. who have been to the impacted countries within the past 3 weeks will now have to land at Dulles International Airport in Virginia first to be screened by the CDC. Well, days after the Senate advanced a resolution to limit President Trump's war powers in Iran, last night Speaker Mike Johnson abruptly canceled a similar vote in the House. The measure appeared to have enough votes to pass due to several Republican absences. Democrats criticized the move and called it cowardly. The vote is now expected in early June after the Memorial Day recess. Well, the racing world is mourning the sudden death of champion NASCAR driver Kyle Busch at the age of 41. His family says he was hospitalized with a severe illness on Wednesday in North Carolina, just days ahead of his next scheduled race in Charlotte. Busch was a two-time NASCAR Cup champion and holds the record for the most races won in NASCAR's National Series. To money news now, and buying a home is becoming even more expensive. According to Freddie Mac, the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage rose to 6.51% this week. That's the highest level in 9 months. Experts say turmoil in the bond market, fueled by the war with Iran, is what's sending rates higher. Still, mortgage rates are lower than this time last year.